Hey there! I got a video today about a topic I have not covered before. This one's about sourcing ingredients and inputs for farming, and I know a lot of you guys out there struggle to find, organic soil amendments or soil mix or compost and stuff like that, and so I'm really lucky that I have a great place to go for that. And this interview here is with Melinda Fitzgerald. She owns and operates Country Farm and Home in Pittsboro, North Carolina, and she has been a huge help for me over the last 2 years, not just in terms of the stuff that she sells, but also the advice that her and her employees have given me, and it's just an amazing place. And if you go to any of the farms in the area, you'll probably see her products there. So, a lot to cover in this one, and I really can't cover all of the things that they do at the store, but I really wanted to highlight some of them and also hear Melinda's really interesting story about her and the store itself. Hope you enjoy. Hey Melinda, thanks for having me out today, and I'm obviously a huge fan of what you do for the community and what your store offers. I just want to introduce you a little bit, and if you could talk a little bit about your background and your family history with the store here, that'd be great.
Sure. So I'd like to talk about the history of the store first,
sure,
if I can, because I think it's a really cool place. I feel like I'm really fortunate to be a steward of this building and this real estate. This was built in '53, we think. The original location of the farm store was just a couple blocks up on what is now Chatham Street and South 15501. And it was a farmers exchange, and then in '53 it was built here as a part of Central Carolina Farmers Exchange. So that was something that was based in Durham, and they had satellite stores throughout the Triangle and Triad. And the Durham hub, it was created to kind of give tobacco farmers a way beyond tobacco, because there had been some fungal issues in crops that had really damaged tobacco farmers. So they had in downtown Durham a poultry processing plant, a hatchery, cold storage, which for 40s and 50s was like pretty progressive, and then they had these satellite stores. So this was one of theirs, and there were drivers going back and forth, and there was a mill up here in the two-story part of the building. Here was a feed mill. Farmers would bring their grain. There would be an exchange where they could exchange grain for other products that grow corn or soy around here, or other small grains they could exchange. It was bought out by Farmers Exchange later, FCX, and then Southern States bought it in, I think it was like the late or early 80s. My dad was a customer here. We have our start in Florida, and my dad actually had a financial background. He was in business and banking, and we moved up here to have more land, change of seasons, all that kind of stuff. And Dad had horses, and he wanted to have horses on the same property where he lived, and that's what this area offered. And this was his store where he came to get horse supplies. So he noticed that the inventory was starting to dwindle around '93, and he started asking questions of, what's going on, and realized that Southern States was in some financial difficulties. They were liquidating some of their corporate stores to have some cash flow, and this was one of them. They were gonna sell it off or close it down, and Dad came home and crunched the numbers. And back then he was, he had that banking and accounting background. He was able to do the math and say, we're not going to get rich at this, but I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think I can make a living for the family, and he bought the store. And I remember very clearly the conversation at the dinner table where he said, like, what should she name this place? And we named it Country Farm and Home, and that was the worst decision in the world because nobody remembers the name of this store. I didn't want to have anything to do with it when Dad first started. And it was my sister that worked here in high school, and we were transplanted from Florida. I just didn't even really want to be in Pittsboro. I went to Carolina. I got an education degree. I taught in the Chapel Hill Carrboro school system for 13 years, and I started getting burned out about the time that No Child Left Behind was kicking into full swing. And at the same time, my father was looking at selling this place. He was hitting his mid-60s, and he wanted to retire. He wanted a way out, and I started looking at other options. Moorhead Planetarium had offered me a job. I was thinking about that, and Dad and I had a conversation one night, and I said, well, it'd be really a shame if you sold the store. And he's like, well, if I had a daughter who was interested. And it never even dawned on me. And my first thought was, I can't sell Roundup for the rest of my life. You know, this was kind of a conventional feed and seed at the time, and you know, yes, feed and horse supplies, and at one point there were a bunch of saddles in the showroom, but sold a lot of glyphosate, and I didn't want to just be a poison peddler, and so that was my concern. But I was an environmentalist at heart. That's what I taught in science in my classroom in middle school. We went out, we did stream studies and cared about the soil and taught the kids about that, and always did Earth Day events. And I thought, well, there's organic farmers around here. What are they using? And so I started going around and interviewing people. I'm like, what do you use? Where do you get it? How do you source it? Of course, I had to come in here and learn the business, and Dad was great to teach me everything he knew, show me the accounting. Like, one of the first things he did was give me a balance sheet and an income statement and say, study this. And it kind of overwhelmed me because I didn't know anything about that stuff. But he taught me, and he taught me how to keep all the books and do all of that. And so I got that under my belt for a year or two, and then I started bringing in slowly some of the organic products and starting to transition us to where now our market, our growing market, is really with sustainable and organic market farmers, and people doing CSAs and restaurants, and also the meat, you know, processing their own meat, and homesteaders and gardeners who want to eat more healthy.
So I've been buying all of my feed from you guys, and that I've done videos with Jeff, and Jeff's the farmer that's responsible for that, and that's been huge to coordinate that in terms of local feed and just high quality stuff. But I buy a lot of other, you know, amendments and things like that here. But you guys sell a ton of stuff, a big variety, and I think one of the things that's successful about that is that you have a lot of people working here that know about all these things.
Yeah, there's of my staff growing vegetables or meat or fencing, farming is a hobby or a side job, or sometimes they're a part-time staff member but their full-time job is farming. I have Hillary, who is my sales manager now, but she started as the farm manager at the community college, and she's like a walking encyclopedia of botanical knowledge. She buys all of our plants here, and our birds, and our seed, our garden seed, and people come in and like they're just blown away at all of the different vegetable seed options that we have that nobody else has. That's Hillary. And
from personal experience, I've had some amazing conversations with her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's just a botanical nerd of knowledge when it comes to anything like that, and she loves to work with people on their soil test and give advice. Kyle is a beekeeper, and we added a full beekeeping supply section we sell bees and packages in the spring. So Kyle's got that knowledge. I've got 3 guys in the warehouse that have moonlighted with a fencing gig. They're called the 3 Amigos Fencing, and they've got like just a wealth of fencing knowledge. Couple new hires, Stetson and Josh, are also farmers. Josh is a hemp farmer, also has goats. So we can kind of cover the bases here with experience.
Okay, and in terms of products, you have a very wide range of products that you sell, and really for different scales too, right? So anything from small gardening to farming.
So whether it's somebody who just is doing like a 4x4 raised bed, or now we're having a lot of developments where there's very small houses and people just have to grow in containers on their patios, to people that have large vegetable farms or livestock farms. We can handle all of that. I think what makes us unique is that we gear ourselves to the farmers so we can buy in bulk. So a lot of the stuff that comes in here comes in tractor trailer loads, and that gives us really good pricing. But we pare it down and get smaller quantities, and in some cases just repackage ourselves for a small gardener. So that means where a small gardener might walk into like a really fancy garden center in an urban area and pay like 4 times as much for something, they can come here and get a really good value. And that's thanks to our farmers that are shopping here and buying it in larger quantities. We can do that.
Absolutely. So let's take a look around, show off some of the stuff you got going on here.
All right.
So when you first walk into the store, there's piles of potting mix.
Yeah.
Is that a big product for you guys?
It is, and a whole variety of potting mixes, because every farmer has their own, you know, unique ideas about what potting mix works for them. Some people want living soils with compost. Some people want something that's fairly infertile because they want the plants to get in and out pretty quickly and they don't need that extra nutrition. Most of our potting soils are organic. Some are OMRI certified, some are just organic in nature. So depending on what, I always tell somebody, if you're not certified, or I'm sorry, if you are certified, you need to check with your certifier and make sure it's okay to use, because we've gotten into that before with some people just just misinformation out there and not understanding, you know, all the ingredients can be okay, but then if it doesn't have a certain label, your certifier says no, then problems can arise. But we brought in the Coast of Maine line this year just to have an OMRI labeled living soil that we could offer folks. We carry the full line of Fox Farm soils and also Sungrow, and all that stuff's coming tractor trailer, so it goes back to the value of being able to offer good pricing because we're getting large quantities of it. We are a feed store. I mean, that is primarily the biggest thing we sell, and I buy from 8 different mills. But some of it's conventional, and do for everything from horses to cattle to chickens, of course, is our biggest thing. To fancier birds, people come in for guinea food, game bird food, all of that kind of stuff. But our non-GMO feed, I'm particularly proud of, and I know that Josh has videoed Jeff and gone out to his farm and talked about that, but that's a really special relationship with us and Bender Farms, who grows the grains for the feed and mills there. We stock that feed in-house, and that's something that Jeff and I have collaborated on and grown as a business, and we feel great about being able to offer a clean food, clean, whole grain, traceable ingredient food for folks to feed their livestock at a reasonable price. We sell the organic feed too. We have a couple different organic options. We carry Reedy Fork Farms organic feed. We find that for farmers, the non-GMO becomes a really good fit because the organics are hard. They're easier to do for a homesteader or a smaller operation, but for a farmer, the non-GMO offers a clean food, but with a lower price point.
It's also local, and
Yes.
it's also very fresh. You guys turn that over all the time.
Yeah. So Jeff's milling every 2 weeks. He mills for the store, and he mills for people who would pick up on farm or anything that we ship from the farm. So we do ship across the southeast to different farms. But the orders come in every other Monday. I email Jeff an order for milling for the week, and it's milled and sent out. So it's always, I mean, it smells super fresh. It is super fresh.
So I think it's really cool that you offer a lot of different options, from conventional to non-GMO to organic, and then local. And basically, you know, if people just want a bag of whatever, like you have it, like you have a lot of different options.
Yeah, from llamas to rabbits to pigeons. We were just talking off camera about somebody that raises pigeons in South Africa. So we got pretty much anything you need when it comes to feed, and buy from enough different mills that if one has a shortage, we can get from somewhere else, because that's something that is becoming more of an issue for us as a supplier. You know, as we have things that are happening in this country with crazy rainfalls, flooding, early snows, late snows, droughts, whatever, then that affects all of the stuff that we sell here. You know, when farmers in Iowa can't plant their corn, that affects the feed prices or affects feed availability. And so being able to source things from different places and have different options kind of helps protect us from those curveballs. But it also helps when customers don't wait until the last minute to come in and buy their stuff. They're not just completely out. So if we say we need a few days to get this in, they have that cushion. The more we can all plan as these weather events kind of become more kind of unpredictable, the more we can all be prepared for what is thrown our way.
So beekeeping is becoming more popular with gardeners, homesteaders, but also small farmers too?
Yes, there's a lot of small farmers that are securing their own hives so that they are increasing pollination on their farms, and there's a lot of concern now about bee populations in decline, so people are wanting to do their part to increase bee populations. In Chatham County, we have a strong beekeepers association. Across the state, we do. So there's a lot of mentorship and a lot of knowledge out there, and I've been approached by a lot of people to try to carry bee supplies here. So we have a relationship with a small mom and pop business in Sophia, Bees Needs. That's where we get our supplies. We build the boxes here. We have a jig in the back, and we do build the boxes and the frames, and we carry a full line of beekeeping supplies.
All right, so we can go on and on with the things that you sell here, and it's amazing. So we're irrigation, soil amendments, poultry supplies. We talked about a bunch of other stuff. Can you talk a little bit about amendments? I know that's a huge thing. It's hard to source as well.
Yeah. We do carry. We have a catalog that goes through both multi-purpose fertility that's organic. If we're talking about amendments, we're talking about organic and natural soil amendments. To also things that you can specifically amend: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Used to be something we would just special order in, and as it grew, now we're just getting tractor trailer loads at a time and stockpiling it here. And we've got everything from alfalfa meal to potassium sulfate to solubles to insolubles, to like rock phosphate, brown phosphate, just all kinds of stuff.
And you guys are great about working with the customer and trying to figure out what they want to use and what you can offer them.
People can come in with the soil test and we'll look at it with them and give them some advice on how to amend and what to use. Especially what's a big deal around here is pH. If pH is off, it doesn't matter what kind of fertility you put down the soil isn't going to use that fertility. So you've really got to get your pH right, and that's kind of the first step. And so we have limes and calciums for building up the pH, sulfurs for dropping the pH down, because we found that with people using repeated compost, especially compost with eggshells, it will boost the pH. So then you have to use something to bring it back down again.
Okay, and you guys do a lot of cool stuff, like you get bulk feather meal.
Yes.
Which you guys are actually bagging up today.
That's right, yeah. So we build a box on the back of a 20-foot flatbed trailer. We drive to Harmony Rendering Plant and pick up 4 tons at a time of bulk feather meal, which is exactly what it sounds like, ground up chicken feathers. There's a little bit of blood meal in there too from the process. It's hydrolyzed. It runs about a 13 to 14% nitrogen. And we bag it up in 50-pound bags, or on our bulk bagging day, people can bring whatever container suits them, from a pickle barrel to a trash can to whatever, and we'll put it in there for them.
Great example of using what's available local and getting that back in the ground to help grow vegetables.
That's right, yeah. Bag of feather meal. We got one of our fun customers here, John Soner from Eco Farm, and he's getting feather meal in his pickle barrels. Hey, John.
All right, so you have customers that buy it bulk, but you can also, you guys bag it for sale too, right?
We do, yeah. We sell it in 50-pound bags. We have it here all the time, but when it's bulk, this is the best way to buy it, because we're taking out our bagging fee, we're taking out our any kind of storage kind of cost, and people can bring their own containers, or we have people that donate feed bags all the time back to us, so we can use those recycled feed bags as well. Also saw a need here for tools that were above and beyond what you'd find at Lowe's or Home Depot with the True Values.
You do carry some of those tools as well.
We do carry those tools, but we also carry the heritage tools that really could be passed down from generation to generation. A lot of the European models, things you would get in Earth Tools or Johnny's or DeWitt, we have here on our shelves. You can hold them and touch them and play around with them and see how they work. And we even have a broad fork that is made by a local blacksmith. We carry lots of hard to find things that you can't find other places to season extend and naturally add fertility to your soil. We sell warm season and cool season cover crops. We can recommend cover crop mixes for you. We also have row covers and ground covers and all kinds of things to extend the season. And
I can't stress that enough when people are asking for cover crop recommendations. Like, you got to talk to someone who lives near you and knows what grows and in the right season and which things work and which things don't, because I think it's hard as someone looking for information online.
That's right. Yeah, we have people all the time that will call us and say, well, we're looking for this, famous ones like pasture forage blend, and they're reading things about timothy and alfalfa and orchard grasses that are mixed in a pasture forage. You can't grow that around here. It's not going to work. You're going to spend a ton of money and it's going to die the first summer.
And people ask me about recommendations and I'm like, I just go talk to Melinda.
And then I tell them to talk to Hillary.
All right, so we're in your showroom now, and this is sort of the hub of the whole operation here.
Yeah.
One thing I love when I came in here as a customer is the board behind me is very clear in what you guys offer and prices.
Yeah.
This is very cool.
Yeah. We it's all of the animals that we sell feeds for and the different feeds that we offer. are on the board with pricing. Bring in seeds from High Mowing and SESE, and Baker's Creek is a newer one that we've added on, plus some of our more local ones like white corals. But we offer lots of different varieties, things you wouldn't find just anywhere, heirlooms. None of our seeds genetically modified. We don't do that here. And then a lot of stuff that's got some disease resistance too.
Okay, and a lot of stuff has been handpicked by Hillary for people that are growing locally.
That's right, absolutely. That's what happens. And then we have some really fun stuff where Hillary will go out and like hand forage and things and make her own little bee mixes and pollinator mixes, and we'll do some mixes here too as well. We do a lot of seasonal orders here where people can pre-order things that are going to come in once or twice a year. We do it with fruit trees and bare roots and strawberry plugs, garlic. Our seed potatoes are particularly huge, and our sweet potato slips. And right now I've got Hillary and Joyce Ann behind me collating all the orders for the bare roots that came in. These are all native plants that should be planted right now in the dead of winter. One of the things that makes this store really unique, I think, is that it's run by two educators. I was a former teacher, Hillary was an educator at the community college, and so when you come here, it really is an educational experience, and we're going to teach you about something that you're doing, and you're going to teach us too, but that's kind of the way we move forward with everything we do around here, is with education at the forefront. I think that's what makes us unique from other businesses. So we have fencing options for really any scale and size, just like we've talked about scale and size with other things. Even if you've got a small garden or a chicken coop or a dog yard you're trying to fence, well, you can do that. But we also sell to a lot of fence contractors, do larger pastures, larger market gardens. Right now we're working with some fence builders to source out supplies for larger 8-foot deer fences for larger market gardens. And we're building a new hay shed and building for more storage for things. We sell a lot of hay as well, source hay from really all over the country so that we have good supplies for nutritious hay for all of our livestock.
So just from walking around and showing off all the stuff you have going on here, there's no way we could list all the things that you guys sell here, and it's just incredible.
Yeah, I can't do it on my website. It's just kind of an impossible thing to do, but it's something that's evolved over time. Our customers like coming here. They like a one-stop shop. They like that they can get everything here, and so they just always ask, well, can you get this too? And can you get this too? And we're like, yeah, we can get that. Yeah, we can get that. Next thing you know, we've started carrying grow lights, or we've started carrying, I don't know, like some fancy tools and all these things that we weren't carrying before. And maybe it's, the next thing on the list is wax boxes and packaging. I think part of that goes back to my dad and his philosophy on things. We never really lived in some fancy lifestyle. It's just that he'd make money and reinvest it in business, and I think that's just kind of what we continue to do, and so our inventory continues to grow. Awesome. So I'll leave a link down in the description below for your website, and I highly recommend if anyone is within a few hours of here, they come and check out what you're doing and talk to any of the people that work here. Thanks so much for letting me take a look around today with my camera, and I'll be back here for buying all sorts of stuff from you. Thanks, Josh. So I hope you enjoyed that video. It's been my pleasure to visit with Melinda. She's been such a huge help with me and my farm over the past 2 years, and go check out her place if you're anywhere remotely close, and you will not be disappointed. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, we'd greatly appreciate if you could do that. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.